The Shambhavi and Kechari mudras, though differing in the position of the eyes and places, are one in their result. Both of them bring about the state of Ananda, absorption of the mind in the void, which is of the nature of Brahman, that is Chitsukha. Direct the pupils of the eyes towards the light by raising the eyebrows a little upwards. Concentrating the mind on the earlier mentioned yoga practice, the Unmani Avastha comes about immediately. Some confuse themselves by agamas and some by nigamas and others by logic. They do not know that which gives them freedom. With half-closed eyes fixed on the tip of the nose, with a steadied mind, and with the sun and the moon reduced to the state of suspension, that's by directing the prana from Ida and Pingala and forcing it into Sushumna, the yogi attains that state wherein he experiences the supreme reality in the form of resplendent light, that is Jyoti, which is the source of all things and which is the most supreme object to be gained. What else higher than this could be expected? Do not worship the linga, Atman, in the day and in the night alone. Stopping the day and the night, the linga should be worshipped constantly. When the prana, which naturally flows through the right and the left nadis, moves in the middle, Kechari becomes steady. There is no doubt about this. When the void between Ida and Pingala swallows the breath, then the Kechari mudra becomes steady. This is the correct method without doubt. In the middle of the unsupported space between the Ida and Pingala, the Vyoma chakra is situated. The mudra practiced in the space is called Kechari mudra. The Kechari mudra, in which the stream of nectar flows from the moon, is very much liked by Lord Shiva. The Sushumna, having no equal, is the best of the nadis, which must be closed at the rear end of the mouth, that is by the tongue. If the prana is stopped in the front as well, then Kechari definitely comes into being. By frequent practice of Kechari, the Unmani comes into being. Between the eyebrows, which is the seat of Lord Shiva, the mind becomes absorbed. This is known as the fourth state, Turiya, where there is suspension of time. One should practice Kechari mudra until he gets into the Yoga Nidra. When Yoga Nidra is obtained, there is no death. After making the mind supportless, that is by removing it from every object of conception, he should not think of anything. He certainly then remains like a pot filled inside and outside with Akasha. When the outside breath from without ceases, the breath within the body also becomes absorbed. There is no doubt about it. After this, the prana along with the mind becomes steady in its own position. By thus practicing restraint of prana night and day, the prana through practice is absorbed. Then the mind is also absorbed. One should saturate the body from head to foot with a stream of nectar flowing from the moon. He then becomes endowed with an excellent body, great strength and value. Thus, Kechari has been described. Placing the mind in the Shakti, that is Kundalini, and placing the Shakti in the center of the mind and observing the mind with the mind, meditate on the supreme state. Place Atman in the midst of Akasha and the Akasha in the midst of Atman. And converting everything into Akasa, one must not think of anything else. Void within and void without, he is like an empty pot in Akasa, full within and full without. He is like a full pot in the ocean, full within and full without. He should cease thinking of anything external. Neither should he be thinking of anything within. Abandoning all thoughts, he should dwell on nothing. The external universe is created merely by our thoughts as also the imaginary world. Giving up all thoughts that are imaginary and resorting to nirvikalpa, samadhi, O Rama, you will find peace. This is from Yoga Vasishta. As camphor disappears when burnt and as salt dissolves in water, the concentrating mind merges with the object of meditation. Everything that is seen can be known, and what is known as well as knowledge is called the mind. When the known and the knowledge are lost, there is no second path to moksha. Both animate and inanimate things in the universe are perceived by the mind. When the mind is lost in the Unmani state, then duality is not experienced. By the abandonment of all objects, the mind reaches the state of absorption. When the mind gets absorbed, Kaivalya alone remains. These are the various paths and means for attaining samadhi described by the great ancient teachers. I shall describe Nadopasana taught by Goraksanatta. This is suitable even for those of inferior intellect who are not capable of realizing the supreme truth. Sri Adinatha, that is Lord Shiva, has given 1 crore and a quarter, that is 1,25,000 ways of attainment of laya, but we consider Nadopasana the best of all layas. The yogi sitting in the Muktasana and assuming the Shambhavi Mudra should listen with a concentrated mind to the sounds within. These are heard in the right ear. Close the ears, the nose, the mouth and the eyes. Then a clear sound is heard distinctly in the Sushumna which has been purified. In all the yogic practices, there are 4 stages: Arambha, Gatha, Parichaya and Nispatti. Arambhavastha, that is in the first stage, there is the breaking opening of Brahma Granthi, that is not of Brahma, that is in the Anahata Chakra. Then there is bliss which arises from the void. Simultaneously, the various sweet tinkling sound as of ornaments and the unstruck sound, Anahata Dwani, arising from the Akasha in the heart are heard in the body. In the Arambha Avastha, the yogi has his heart full of bliss and he gets a lustrous body. He is radiant and emits a sweet smell and is free of all diseases. In the second stage, which is called Gatavastha, the prana unites with apana, nada and bindu and enters the middle region. The yogi then becomes firm in the asanas, his intellect becomes more keen and he becomes equal to the devas. When Vishnu Granthi in the supreme void is pierced, it is indicative of great bliss. Then there is a rumbling sound like that of a kettle drum. Third stage, which is called the Parikaya Avastha, a sound that of Mardala is heard in the Akasha, lying between the eyebrows. The Vayu, that is the prana, goes to the Mahashunya, which is the seat of all siddhis. Having overcome the blissful state of the mind, the yogi experiences the natural state of bliss. He then becomes free from all faults, pains, old age, diseases, hunger and sleep. Nispatti Avastha is the last one. In Nispatti Avastha, when the prana pierces the Rudra Ganthi existing at the Agnya Chakra, it goes to the seat of Ishvara. Then is heard the sound of the flute, which assumes the resonance of the veena. When the mind becomes one with the object concentrated upon, it is called Raja Yoga. At that stage, the yogi, being the master of creation and destruction, becomes the equal of Ishvara. Let there be mukti or not, here is uninterrupted bliss. The bliss arising from laya is obtained only from the practice of Raja Yoga. Those who do not understand Raja Yoga and only practice Hatha Karma, such practitioners, I think, are cheated of the fruits of their efforts. I think contemplation on the space between the eyebrows is the best way for the attainment of Unmani Avastha in a short time. For people of inferior intellect, the absorption brought about by Nada, which gives immediate experience, is an easy means to attain the state of Raja Yoga. Great yogis who practice samadhi through the concentration on nada experience a joy arising in their hearts